in the end, it is about results. You know, lean is about how you get the results as much as it is the results. But in the end, we have to create more value for stakeholders in this process. So can any of you just share some of the specific benefits or measurable results you've achieved?
I've mentioned the change in closing the books for a month. That really mattered. It's only one small element of an entire business, but it made a big difference in terms of being able to make good decisions as executive management. The other thing, the story I told about on-time delivery when I joined the company, we were in the 80s. When we sold the company, we were at 95, even though we had, through the journey, learned that at face value it was more expensive to get above 90. By then backtracking and changing processes, we ended up at a very comfortable 93 to 95, which made a difference in value. I mean, the perfect example is that we then had the opportunity, by undertaking this journey and really embedding it in the culture of the business, to go from a company that had very little value, frankly, 6 years ago, to selling it very well a couple of weeks ago. I mean, that's the ultimate, I guess, in creating value for the stakeholders. And an awful lot of that was related to the lean process that we went through, as it relates to the customer engagement as well as the suppliers and the processes in the building.
About in 2007, we had to pass on some large sales. Well, we went out and we purchased some automated portion control equipment and a sorting line, which was about $450,000, which was a huge investment for us, especially with the economy going down. But we were able to increase our capacity of output on our production floor from 200%, and we did it with 20% less staff. And the cross-training that we did on the floor, where the specific meat cutter and the old union mentality was, I cut meat, you bring it to me, and that's all I do. We eliminated that, and that came from the floor. So they follow that process all the way through. So we were able to cut that 10,000 steak order in 4 hours compared to 2 weeks, and we were able to get a distributor out of New York to sell our meat portion control items to, which helped get us through that tough sales point. So that was huge for us, and that was a big turnaround. So it got us to the next level of where we could place our products. So through the economic downturn, it was about 4 years for us, we were able to sell a lot of wholesale product throughout the East Coast and not just be a regional hand-cut specialty supplier. And that was huge. I probably wouldn't be here talking today if we hadn't made that move.
We peaked in sales in 2008, and we now, at roughly 65 or 70% of that volume, are making much more money. And that's in spite of having double-digit transfer price increases on the cast iron that came over. Some of that is just the union wages and the wage increases in Norway, but also it's just the Norwegian kroner. Norway's the wealthiest country in the world right now. There are 5 million people and a lot of oil and natural gas money. And their currency, they didn't join the euro like Germany did, so their currency has skyrocketed against the dollar. So that's also been a contributing factor. But to be able to go from break even at 34 million, and an EBIT margin of 1 to 2%, and now be close to 9%, 8.4, 8.6 right now. And yeah, we had to right-size the company on the OPEX side, but the core group stayed with us. And one thing you find out as you right-size is you learn who wants to be with you and who doesn't, and people multitask, they take on more responsibility. So it's more of, rather than direct layoffs, it's more if you lose someone, then you don't replace that person, someone else fills in. And we have a lot of stories about people being developed, and I think that a couple of things that we did early on with Lean back in 2008 during that downturn is we instituted our idea system. And next month we'll cross over 5,000 completed ideas, which we're really proud of. We're in our 6th year. We benchmarked Toyota. There's a great book out there, Alan Robinson, Ideas Are Free. And Corning Glass right down the road had just gone automated with their idea system. So we hired their IT person to utilize our idea system. So the system had to be in place, it had to be paperless, and our leadership training was first and foremost, all managers and supervisors, a group of roughly 24 people, were trained on customer service because the idea system was about internal customer service. And that was, just let me give you an example, someone comes to you with an idea and the supervisor says, that's the worst idea I've ever heard, versus, that's a great idea, here are the reasons we can do it, I'm going to help you, I'm going to give you some time to do it, you've got to complete it because that was the rule. If you come up with an idea, you can't throw the monkey to your supervisor or someone else, you have to be part of the idea. So so we did the customer service and the leadership training with the supervisors and managers, and then the next day, we pulled the whole company in and we did a full day of training on how the system worked. I presented sort of the paradigm shift where you're the expert and we're only getting 60% of your brain power. From this day on, it's a requirement. When you stepped in the door of Jøtul, you made a decision to be here, come play. And then we tied it to our merit or behavioral bonus.
We were 1,600 and a half billion in terms of revenue, so we had quite a large group. But in addition to all the financial parameters, if you will, and the benefits, the two most important things that I recall was customer satisfaction and the measurements they had through very specific surveys was a very big plus. But on the flip side of that was the employee satisfaction, because we did that, folks who had been in, I won't call it dead end, but jobs that they were doing for a long period of time, getting on board the lean train, as they say, put a whole new life in their work, what they did every day. And there was a tremendous improvement, if you will, in employee satisfaction, coming to work, getting involved, and feel like they were part of running the business as opposed to handling a certain transaction. So I think those are two things that stuck in my mind, in addition to all the other, financial parameters, lower inventory, better cycle time, so forth and so on.